Hello everyone, I'm Geek Freak and welcome to the video. Today I'm going to be reacting to Meta Knight versus Marth, Kirby versus Fire Emblem Smash bracket S1E1. So if you guys haven't seen this video, please go and watch that video first. Who's watch that? Come back, watch this. Let's continue. Okay. I know of the Kirby series, but I'm not really into it. I know there's Fire Emblem, and again, I'm not really into that series. You know, I haven't don't know what it's about or anything, so I've got really nothing else to say. But other than that, let's get to watching. Just gonna put that there. Okay, so this is Meta Knight versus Marth, Kirby versus Fire Emblem, and 3, 2, 1, and go.
What would happen if two of Nintendo's most famous military leaders went toe-to-toe in a battle to determine who would come out on top? Welcome to Smash Bracket, a show dedicated to solving that exact question. If each and every playable character from the Super Smash Bros. Series was entered into a giant fighting tournament using them at the peak of their strength, who would be victorious? The rules
I don't know, that's what I'm asking you.
right now with a link in the description to break them down even further. With all that in place, let's take a look at today's match between Meta Knight and Marth to see who will advance on to the next round and who will be disqualified. Let's get into it.
Awesome.
Meta Knight.
Power comes in all shapes and sizes, and nowhere is that more obvious than the Kirby franchise. Kirby is one of Nintendo's longest running and most popular franchises, and it's the brainchild of Super Smash Bros. Director Masahiro Sakurai, who created the series in 1992. Not that he would ever show a bias towards his characters in Smash, though. The franchise has sold over 42 million copies in its lifetime, and within Super Smash Bros., Kirby has been a long-time fan-favorite character. Standing next to Kirby, serving as a rival and sometimes an enemy, is the enigmatic warrior Meta Knight. Standing at a
Meta Knight.
8 inches tall, Meta Knight is the leader of an army of soldiers, which he humbly named the Meta Knights. Yeah, Meta Knight may be an honorable fighter, but he's not afraid to do some serious self-promotion with the naming of his army or building his face directly onto the front of his battleship. Even aside, though, all of Meta Knight's soldiers are incredibly gifted and loyal to him. They put their full trust in him, and it's not without merit. He's a true knight through and through. He fights honorably and abides by a code of chivalry. He even almost always offers Kirby a sword when they fight to ensure that they have a clean, fair duel. He's also immensely skilled and takes great pride in his strength and abilities. Due to the more grounded rule set of Smash Bracket, we can only attribute feats to Meta Knight that are part of his main canon, which means that mini-games or the anime where a lot of Meta Knight's lore and commonly cited feats come from, Kirby right back at ya, will not be considered here. So let's start off with his abilities. Like we mentioned, he is an incredibly skilled warrior. So much so that he made a wish to challenge the greatest fighter in the galaxy, Galactonite, and he beat him in a straight fight. I should note that this doesn't happen in the main timeline, but rather it happens in a side game. And while Kirby canon is confusing enough to make Kingdom Hearts fans jealous, what Meta Knight displays here is consistent with how he's described throughout his entire series. And I'm confident that this showcases that Meta Knight is clearly intended by his creators to be one of the best fighters in the universe. Meta Knight augments this immense skill with an array of special powers as well. He can spin in a tornado, launching himself through the air and causing massive damage. He can also shoot out projectiles from his trusty sword, Galaxia, which has to be the coolest freaking name I have ever heard for a sword ever. And there's a wide variety of projectiles that he can use as well. He can shoot energy projections of Galaxia, shoot thin lasers, launch energy blades, shoot balls of energy, or even launch fireballs. And this energy manipulation also allows him to imbue his blade with electricity and a drill-like energy that allows him to tunnel through enemies. Meta Knight's also no slouch when it comes to his physical strength. Since we're only interested in what Meta Knight himself can do and what he's portrayed on screen, we're not going to be comparing him or scaling him to other people in his series or people that he's adventured with. But he doesn't need this scaling to be impressive. He was able to shatter these metal dice that measure out to around 3 feet per side. We can see that they're broken into large, distinct pieces. So if we assume that it was broken entirely due to Meta Knight's power, this comes out to the equivalent of around 4 pounds of TNT behind a single swing. But it gets more crazy than that. He's also knocked back a giant billiards ball and shattered it against a wall. Using the same measurements and density of polyester, the primary component of these balls, this comes out to around 9 pounds of TNT with a single swing of his sword. Not too bad for someone who's barely taller than a soda can. Meta Knight is also immeasurably fast. There are many instances of him flying into the distance or even traveling between planets. To put this in perspective, it takes even the fastest human-built rockets around 6 to 8 months to travel between even relatively close planets like Earth and Mars. The max speed of these rockets can reach upward of 160,000 miles per hour, and it still takes months. So while an exact speed is hard to pin down here for Meta Knight due to an unclear perspective, he clearly makes these feats in a matter of minutes rather than months, and he's almost certainly reaching and very likely exceeding the speed of light in these scenes. Faster than light is a phrase that gets thrown out a lot in versus matches, but when it actually applies, it is insane. Let me put this into perspective for you real fast. In the time that it takes Kirby to do this, Meta Knight could have traveled across the entire equator of Earth a dozen times, and that's the absolute lowball that we're giving him here. He's very likely much faster than this. People often cite Meta Knight being able to keep up with Kirby's Warp Star, which is capable of teleportation, but we should note that he's never actually outpaced the star while it's warping. And its non-teleportation speeds aren't anywhere near as impressive as what Meta Knight displays in his space travel. With combat speed, the logic follows that he should also be fast, but because combat and travel speed aren't a one-to-one comparison, it's hard to say exactly how fast he is. He's never shown his limits, but we do know that he's been able to match just about anyone that he's fought before. So although we can't get an exact number here, it is clear that he's capable of some extreme speed in both areas. Despite his incredible speed though, Meta Knight's own durability that he's displayed is a little less impressive. His most powerful durability feats are getting launched out of cannons and smashing through solid metal blocks along the way, which roughly amounts to 1 pound of TNT. He's likely much more durable than this, but without any firm examples or viable feats, we can't put him higher than this for now, unless he were to
What about scaling?
that's objective and we can measure.
No, scaling to Kirby.
Though, Meta Knight is truly one of the galaxy's best warriors, and is a formidable foe for anyone brave enough or stupid enough to face it. Now let's take a look at his opponent, Marth. The Fire Emblem franchise has been around even longer than the Kirby franchise, and originally it was pretty niche to Japan exclusively. That is, until the appearance of 2 Fire Emblem characters in Super Smash Bros. Melee that sparked global interest in the franchise. One of these characters was Marth, the protagonist of the very first Fire Emblem game. He's also made appearances in a sequel, remakes, anime, the lore of some other games, and a beautiful musical masterpiece. Marth is the prince of his homeland, Altea. After the betrayal and murder of his father and the conquering of his homeland, Marth gathered together an army and fought fearlessly for the liberation of his people, gaining the title
thought he was a woman.
He's fought against some of the toughest of odds and led his troops against the toughest of foes. Much like Meta Knight, Marth's army is devoted and loyal, and they view him as their fearless leader. As a person, Marth is kind-hearted and idealistic, but he's also a very talented commander. As a capable ruler, he has an immense sense of duty toward his people, and he's not afraid to take up his sword in the name of his country. When it comes to his actual feats, though, Marth presents quite the challenge. It's clear that he's a talented leader and that he can hold his own with a blade. But since Fire Emblem focuses mostly on character development rather than action, we can't accurately measure how strong he is. Throughout his games, he constantly downplays his own strength and ability, talking about how he's not that great of a fighter compared to others around him, and how he's touched that people follow him in spite of that. There is an argument to be made that Marth can hit considerably harder than a normal human because he can deal equivalent damage to magic that can summon meteors, explosions, and lightning. But it isn't so straightforward. There's a saying that there's more than one way to skin a cat, and that holds true for combat as well. You could beat someone in a sword fight by outplaying them and getting a lethal strike at their heart, or you could beat someone in a sword fight by crushing them with a meteor. Either way, they're going to be just as dead. Enemy hit points in Fire Emblem are an abstraction of a character's vitality rather than an actual representation of damage being done. And there's just too many variables here to scale up Marth to the kind of strength you would expect from a meteor. Not to mention that the actual impact of these spells is pretty underwhelming despite the over-the-top animation. When it comes to Marth's durability, we know that he can hold his own in combat against some pretty strong opponents and withstand powerful attacks. But once again, there's not too much that we can measure here. There's too many variables in combat to attribute all of this to durability. That being said, despite the difficulty in measuring this, you don't get to be the Hero King without some tricks up your sleeve. Marth comes
The Hero
with the
King.
Shield of Seals, a legendary artifact that's powered by a variety of magical gems. Each of these gems have a powerful and unique effect. The Life Sphere gem heals the wielder to max HP every single turn, and the Dark Sphere gem makes them completely immune to any damage. The exact limits of this durability are unknown, but it's an impressive defense boost that at the very least can stand up to an entire army of skilled warriors and magicians. When it comes to his speed, Marth is fast enough to dodge material and magical attacks in his games. While at first glance this would seem to imply that he has enough reaction speed to dodge arrows or even lightning, it's important to remember a few things here. First off, the combat that we see in Fire Emblem is an abstraction of a fight between two armies, rather than a literal one-on-one duel like we see on screen. But aside from that, if we were to take these feats literally, they would apply to every single character in the Fire Emblem franchise, which doesn't really seem to reflect the more grounded nature of these games and the intent of its creators. I think that the most viable interpretation of what's happening here is that Marth notices that someone's aiming at him, predicts the trajectory, and dodges preemptively, rather than seeing the lightning come at him and then suddenly gaining the ability to move over 270,000 miles per hour and get out of the way. So while these may not be reaction speed feats, it does show his prowess in being able to gauge an enemy's movement and where they're going to hit him. Lastly, Marth has access to a variety of weapons and equipment from his games. These include some healing items and magical equipment as well. The most notable of these are the Life Sphere and Dark Sphere, which we talked about earlier, his broadsword named Falchion, and the Levin Sword. Let's start with his blade, Falchion. It was crafted from the fang of a dragon, and it's especially effective against dragons. Apart from its draconic affinity though, the sword can be used as a healing item, although Marth would likely never need to use it in that capacity due to his Life Sphere. The Levin Sword is a powerful magical blade in the shape of a lightning bolt that can summon magical lightning and shoot bolts of electricity at enemies. While Marth could theoretically use other weapons from Fire Emblem like a bow, lance, or battle axe if he had to, he's never shown any sort of ability to use these meaningfully in combat, and he always prefers to go with swords instead. So it's safe to assume that other weapons are off limits to him, and using them would quickly lead to him getting overwhelmed if he had to use them. When it comes down to it though, Marth's greatest strengths are as a leader, and a glowing anime symbol. With all of that said and done though, let's get into the fight and see who will be disqualified and who will advance on to the next round of the Smash Bracket. But first, do you want to choose a Smash Bracket animation to go on the channel? We see suggestions all the time. We're currently running a Kickstarter for Smash Bracket to try to fund the series. And as a promotion for that, we're doing a giveaway for the rights to choose a 2-minute battle between any two characters of your choice. It doesn't even have to only be from Super Smash Bros. To be animated and put on the channel. So is there a matchup that you've always wanted to see or a versus battle you've always wanted to make happen? Now's your chance. Click the giveaway link in the description below to enter for a chance to win. And while you're there, if you want to help keep Smash Bracket alive and keep the series going, please consider
What about
Guyver
versus Iron Man?
There's also non-monetary ways to support the series for those of you who can't spare any money. Thank you so much for the support, and best of luck in the giveaway. I'm excited to see what you come up with. But with that out of the way, let's get to the fight and find out who will advance on to the next round of the Smash Bracket.
One. Pixels. Okay, that was fun. Yep, he is honorable. That's actually really cool, that is. The Zeus Sword.
And there you go. Now at first glance, this
a man with a sense of honor
incredibly one-sided
is
fight, and that's because it was.
well,
It wasn't
honorable.
nearly as clear-cut as I initially thought it would be, though. With the rules of Smash Bracket, it was really difficult to find meaningful feats for either fighter. Meta Knight has certainly demonstrated some insanely impressive-looking feats, even with our rule set. But it's also easy to forget that he's only 8 inches tall, and so things in Kirby are proportionally much smaller than you would imagine. And so even with his most impressive damage feats, it still likely wouldn't be enough to even damage Marth if we made even moderate-level assumptions about how strong the Dark Sphere was. But the key difference maker here was skill. Even if we were to take away all of Meta Knight's strength and all of his speed, he's consistently portrayed to be an extremely skilled and experienced fighter, one of the best in the galaxy. Marth, on the other hand, is consistently portrayed to be relatively average in his ability. So even if Meta Knight couldn't hurt Marth, he's definitely skilled enough to fight him into exhaustion or outlast Marth until all of his weapons broke. Or with his immense speed, he could just put Marth on the moon literally before he could even blink and take him out of the fight entirely. Marth's shield was the one thing working in his advantage, but Meta Knight was just far too skilled and far too fast for this to be a meaningful factor in his favor. Meta Knight is the winner and will be advancing on to the next round of the Smash Bracket. Next time on the Smash Bracket.
It's me. Oh. Not Fox McCloud. Falco! Falco versus Falcon. How perfect is that? How perfect of fight is that? That is mental. That's awesome. Well, and I'll learn a little bit more about these characters. So yeah, that's awesome. So if there's anything you guys want me to react to, just leave it in the comments below, and I will get to the videos as soon as I can. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace out. Thank you guys for watching. And if there's a series you want me to check out and review and give my thoughts on it, or if there's a top 10 list you want me to do, or any reactions, or responses, or rants on anything geeky, just leave links and comments in the comment sections below, and I'll get to them as soon as I can. Don't forget to like, subscribe, put the bell on, share this video, and leave a comment in the comment sections below. And as for my social medias, I'm literally freaking everywhere! I'm on most video platforms, social medias, forums, and support sites. It's best to pause the video and see where I am. Literally all of this is down in the description box below. So if you want to go and check those out, please do. I'm Geek Freak. Peace out.